All right, folks, we're back wrestling with the business this week. WrestleMania is in the books, and we're going over night one tonight, talking about our reviews of our predictions. I am your WWB champion, 297 days running.
And counting.
And this is the Varsity Athlete. He's here, too. It's just the two of us.
Paul Heyman betrays CM Punk for Roman Reigns.
He interferes in some way?
Whatever it may be, he's going to cost CM Punk, which will set up a CM Punk Roman Reigns match down the road, probably the number one contender.
That is going to be a long match. That match is going to take like 45 minutes.
I can see Heyman siding with Rollins to throw everybody off.
No, they didn't. No.
That's a little too out of left field, I think.
That's a little too out of left field, I think. That's a little too out of left field, I think.
Before we get into it, be sure to comment, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Pile drive that notification bell.
Join the movement.
We're getting up there in subscribers.
I'm very happy
Triple
to
digits
see
now.
Trip Dig. So, hey, 1,000 is the next goal.
Sounds good. So let's get right into it. Night one, WrestleMania. First off, overall, what'd you think of night one as a whole?
It was a bit of a snoozer until the end there. I mean, I got a little interested. I was only invested in the Grande Americano, Rey Fenix, and I was only really invested in that after Rey got pulled out the night before. So that interested me. And the Rollins, Punk, Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, Love quadrilateral situation that they were in. Those were really the only ones. I mean, the beginning, a real snooze fest. I had a bunch of really bad calls out of the gate, primarily because I thought that they wouldn't be quite as disruptive with the championships as they ended up being with both nights. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess the matches didn't drag, which was one good thing. I mean, they really saved a lot of their time for the last two main events, which I appreciated. But I thought it was a pretty lackluster event until really the main event, the last match.
Probably the biggest news of the night happened on the kickoff show, which we'll talk about later. But WWE's moving into Mexico, so nice to see Rey Fenix there. Too bad that he lost, but overall a good match. Let's start with the opening match, though. World Heavyweight Championship. Jey Uso beats Gunther as the new champion.
Yeah, I mean, we should have seen it coming. We did see it coming.
We did see it coming. We all picked
But Triple H definitely was laying a lot of love on the podcast in the last couple of weeks on Jey Uso, talking about how he gets over, how he's so great, how he's the future, he's the future, he's the future. I mean, you had to take it off Gunther. I just don't think you've done enough work to say with Jey. I don't want to retread old territory, but
I'm not even. That's not even my complaint. Like, we knew Jey was going to win. It is what it is. Having Gunther tap, though.
Yeah, that buried him.
Yeah,
that buried him.
I would have much preferred if he just passed out, but having him actually tap, not even tap, just tap quickly. It was within a couple of seconds of being in the hold. That really disappointed me.
I think they did it because they got to do something to make Jey look strong.
Yeah.
Because everything that they've tried so far just has not worked. He won the Rumble. There was a lot of back and forth, in the weeks leading up to it. It was growing more intense, but it's still, everybody's been saying, just like we've been saying, he doesn't look like main event Jey Uso. He doesn't look like the kind of guy that can carry the belt. I mean,
even though it is a secondary or even tertiary title.
In a last-ditch effort, I mean, if I was booking that show and I was like, man, Jey is not nearly as strong as I need him to be, this would be a last-ditch thing that I could do in order to put the belt on him.
Overall, fairly decent match. Congratulations to Jey.
I don't want to get too far ahead of us because we are going to talk about follow-up in another video, Fallout in another video, but do you think it did anything for Gunther coming out and having that little scrum with the announce table, putting Pat McAfee and
I see both sides of it. I see him being a bully, Gunther being a bully. I see that side, but then I see the other side. What do you get out of it beating up announcers?
Yeah,
it's kind of 50-50 with me.
Yeah, I think they don't know what to do with him. They just need to keep him relevant, and so they're doing
him on screen.
These little I think for the next couple of weeks, we're going to see a lot of tap dancing with him until he settles somewhere.
Yeah. Match 2, World Tag Team Championships. New champions, the New Day, beating the War Raiders. Dan was the only one that picked them. Not much to really talk about on this one. It was an okay match.
Yeah, I like the War Raiders. Hopefully they're still going to be on TV. This was the only thing that was kind of keeping them on TV, was holding the belts. I love seeing them on TV. Mm-hmm. They're unbelievably, Eric and Ivar, incredibly talented. So hopefully maybe having the New Day there can create something fun if Big E's in a place to come back. He's been really settling into he's really been settling into his commentary role. Loved his suit jacket, by the way, at WrestleMania. Very spiffy.
Match 3, we all picked Jade to beat Naomi. Again, not much really to talk about here.
God, Naomi, she's just a punching bag, man. Yeah.
She's not too far off from being in catering with Natty at this point. She
was so cool in TNA as Trinity Fatu, and then I don't know if she was chasing money or what, but she came back and now she's just a punching bag.
Match 4, the third title change of the night and weekend, U.S. Championship. Jacob Fatu beats L.A. Knight. This was a pretty good match.
Yeah, I'd say that family had a pretty good night, except for maybe Roman Reigns. The Samoans had a really good night.
Yeah. No, this was a cool match. I mean, I'm kind of 50-50 on this. I could have seen this on an episode of SmackDown, but I'm glad to see it happen. He won the match clean, no interference or nothing. And it was a pretty good match.
Do you think they're just doing it to try to keep the bloodline going? Like it needs a belt to kind of stay relevant. Like
maybe.
I don't know. Like is Fatu ready to hold the U.S. Championship?
I think so. Yeah.
I guess he could. I mean, it's a mid-level belt, but I don't see him. Do you see him in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years reaching for that brass ring? I think it's pretty crowded at the top.
Yeah, probably not right now.
Unless we see some large number of unexpected injuries.
I say that, but he could go for Jey Uso's World Heavyweight.
He could. I don't think that would help the belt, but I see what you're saying. He's not as strong as Gunther. Fatu.
I don't know. They've built him up pretty good. If it were Solo or someone else in the bloodline, I'd say no. I think he's the strongest of that group.
He's the next greatest thing. They're definitely trying to make him into the next great thing.
All right, match number 5. Rey Mysterio gets replaced by Rey Fenix, who's only been there a couple of weeks. Gets his WrestleMania match against El Grande Americano. Another fantastic match. The whole presentation of Grande with the...
It was fun.
It was awesome.
It was kind of fun.
Showing this old video of him in Mexico coming up the ranks and everything. I thought that was great.
It was really... I think I said it off camera last week, but... WWE is kind of leaning away from the controversial heat stuff. One thing with Grande Americano was they had him build from the Gulf of America.
But then the announcers quickly changed that.
Which was the perfect way to get heat, to get great heat. And then, they backed off of it, which is just so perfect. I think it's going great. I mean, I thought that they were going to end it with Rey. What a great way to end it. But apparently there's some serious legs behind it. I'll tell you what. I'm interested in getting a Grande Americano mask. I mean, I think maybe Chad Gable's found his little... and then this whole thing about how he's not really Grande Americano.
Chad Gable has nothing to do with this. What are you talking about?
It's such a good work. I think
this is El Grande Americano. He's a famous luchador from Mexico.
I think about the only way to make this better would be to get R-Truth involved somehow, because he would actually become a conspiracy theorist that tries to sell it to us or something.
So this was a good match. I'm the only one who picked Grande to win, so I was happy about that. Then the night kind of came down a bit with the WWE Women's Championship. Tiffany Stratton retains against Charlotte Flair. Not a very good match.
My first complaint actually has nothing to do with the match. They looked like carbon copies of each other.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. They were wearing nearly identical gear.
They were in the same pink gear. Now, I did, and I think I commented on this in our group. I loved the Barbie gimmick. That was pretty cool.
Tiffany coming out in the Barbie boxes.
Coming out like that was pretty cool,
yes,
and I thought
cool.
that Charlotte coming out in I think it was a Bentley she came out in, or Rolls Royce. It was Rolls Royce. Yep. It was a Ghost, I think. Was pretty cool. Nice little entrance there, but the intensity wasn't really there. It looked like a person wrestling their identical twin almost.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a couple of botched spots, but nothing really bad.
Stratton got a little busted up in the mouth. It looked like she knocked a tooth out, but I think she went online and showed her teeth.
She got it, and there was a spot on her head too. She got a little dinger on her head. But there was a generalized lack of intensity, which kind of stunk.
Which didn't fit with the story they had been telling all along. They
Yeah,
should have been,
right.
It's like with Cena and Cody. They should have been going at each other tooth and nail.
It wasn't good. There was no real good heel work. There was no obvious good guy. They didn't really tell much of a story. It was just a lot of back and forth. And, yeah. And it was kind of long. 20 minutes for that's a little long, considering there was a lack of intensity there.
Then we got to the main event, which we had a long discussion about last week. The triple threat, Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, with Paul Heyman seemingly in Punk's corner, but that obviously changed. The match overall was decent. I think it could... I don't know. I think these guys are good workers and whatnot. There were some spots in there that were obviously choreographed, but still kind of worked, like the triple down after they all hit each other's finishers on each other. That was kind of cool.
That gets a little tiresome.
Yes.
And the main event kickouts, where you get this crazy...
Yes, all weekend, several near falls.
That sort of drives me nuts. I think that WWE is sort of reaching for the surprise finish a little too hard on that. When a guy when you give him your finisher 3 times in a row and he kicks out, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
And yet magically bringing out a chair changes everything. One chair smack to the back and everything.
I should have put money on it, though. I should have put points on it. I called it last week. Heyman sides with Rollins in the end.
I will say this. I do think that the match was very interesting in the sense that this was the end of the show, so anybody watching is probably experiencing a high degree of fatigue. And yet, when I looked and saw that it was 33 minutes long, I was like, that felt like a 20-minute match.
Yes.
There was, especially the ending, it didn't drag at all. It was very interesting. Twist. Paul was involved enough to be a distraction, but not enough to ruin the show or to take away from it at all. High level of intensity, well executed overall. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess my biggest complaint is just they don't call them finishers anymore, right? They call them signature moves or whatever.
A finisher is not a finisher
but
anymore.
It should be treated like that. It should be treated with some way. At least have the other guy be the one to break it up.
My thinking is WrestleMania is the one time a year where you can get away with breaking up a finisher. The problem is they do that on every show all throughout the year, so kicking out of a finisher is not special anymore.
And now it's gotten even worse because now it's some supersized version of your finisher.
Or you have to do it 5 times in a row.
5 in a row, or it's off the top ropes or onto a chair or something, and then the guy still kicks out. So I end up watching my clock most of the time when that happens because I'm like, oh, no, it's only been 10 minutes. That's not the end of the match.
So you and Dan both put up a couple bonus points for this night. You lost a point for Americano not being unmasked, and Dan lost a point because he said Heyman was going to betray Punk for Reigns, but Reigns did not win the match. So I initially gave him the point, but after you guys talked about it, we decided that didn't count. So
his prediction was initially rested on the fact that Reigns had to go over.
Had to win,
and
right.
because he didn't go over.
Overall, good show. I won predictions for night 1. And you came in last with only 2. You would have had 3 if not for that bonus point.
Yeah, I think I'm not feeling that bad about it. I think I made the mistake of...
What would you rate night 1 overall out of 5?
Like, as far as a show or a WrestleMania show?
That's up to you.
I would say if I compare it to other WrestleMania shows, I would put it at 2.5 stars. It's a C. I mean, it's... You know, they didn't make me mad, but they didn't, they were going for the surprise thing. Triple H was talking a lot also in the weeks leading up to the show about, like, everyone talks about how WrestleMania is the end of something. Well, maybe it should be the beginning. And, and he kind of oversold this a little bit. There was a good mix of faces and heels winning here, and I definitely would not have predicted Tiffany Stratton to be the only one to retain her title for the night. So in that respect, I think it was a decent mix, but it was kind of short.
4 hours.
For a WrestleMania.
Started at 7, ended at 11.
There was a lot of filler in there, as far as actual wrestling.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff between
it was like
matches.
2 hours of actual wrestling. So there was a lot of filler in there. And they spent a lot of time really only talking about the 2 matches that mattered.
I'll rate it a little higher. There were some spots that I was kind of down on, but overall, a show as a whole, it held my attention. I didn't get too bored. It was mostly enjoyable, so I give it like a 3.5, pushing a 4.
Wow, that's pretty generous.
Yeah,
that's unlike you.
Yeah.
Let's see if that extends to night 2.
Turning over a new leaf, trying to be more positive here.
Let's see if that extends over to night 2.
Well, we'll see. Why don't you stay tuned? We're going to do a review of night 2 shortly, and comment down below. Let us know what you thought about night 1 of WrestleMania 41. If you keep watching, we'll keep wrestling with the business.